And let's talk to Jeff Wacker, IUP Community Music School and the Arts Path. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today. As we begin a new semester, that means new opportunities to dust off the old fiddle or cello or zither or something.
If it makes noise, dust it off and we can teach it.
I had a dog like that once. I dusted him off, and I couldn't teach him a thing. Let's talk about Community Music School. Reintroduce people to the whole concept and what a great one it is.
IUP Community Music School, gosh, I think we're now in our 7th or 8th year, and it's a rather interesting year, obviously, because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But we typically, on any given year, we have private lessons on most all of the instruments, with the exception of the primary string instruments, and those are taught through the IUP String Project in a separate program. But then we would also have a community band, community choir for adults, and then also a Crimson Youth Choir for the kids. Mm-hmm. Actually, about 3rd grade through high school, and it's divided out into a couple different choirs. So that's been really popular. And then we also have piano classes, guitar classes, a little kids class as far as movement and music, a lot of different things. Now, that said...
You said that was a typical year for a community music school. It's certainly not typical nowadays, though, is it?
It's not typical for anybody. And of course, we had to make adjustments like everybody else. And so large gatherings, we kind of had to curtail for a little while. So the ensembles, the classes, those sorts of things, we did have to not offer those this year. But we've had a good showing on private lessons, and we were able to do both in person and virtual online lessons. Most of our instructors are willing to teach both ways, mm-hmm. And some one way or the other, and some parents want only online, some want to do it in person. So we've been doing that all fall successfully, no issues. We've followed all the guidelines for the music department and the university as far as distancing, as far as using larger rooms, masks required in the building, all of those things, and it really was a fairly successful semester. Mm-hmm. We actually don't start today for the Community Music School. We actually start next Monday. I always start 1 week after the IUP semester, because this first week is tough enough for for the music majors as they're getting so many things started for their IUP semester. Yeah. And if they're also teaching the Community Music School, it gives them a week to kind of settle in before they start teaching their private students. So yeah. There's still plenty of time for people to register for lessons, either, like I said, online or virtual or in person.
Yeah. One of the interesting questions to me is, say somebody began in the fall or last summer and took the fall off, or whatever their level of expertise is. If they've been through community music school and they did a semester as a beginner, and now they're advancing a little bit, want to continue, do they get the same instructor if that instructor is available? How does that work?
Absolutely. We try to do as much continuity as possible. So the bulk of the instructors are graduate students and undergraduate students. They're either a teaching artist or a teaching apprentice. And so if they're a graduate student, they're generally around for 2 years. If they're an undergraduate student, they usually have to be at least a sophomore and oftentimes a junior or senior before they're recommended by their professor to teach, mm-hmm. as being ready to do that. So most of the time, you're going to have the same teacher for at least 2 years before there might be a handoff. And sometimes a student graduates, but they'll stick around for another semester or two, or they may even become a graduate student. So it could go into 3 and 4 years with the same instructor. And when I assign a new one, I really try to take that into mind as how long can I keep a student with an instructor so there's as much continuity there as possible. Mm-hmm.
We talk about the instruments and what instruments are offered. Obviously, you can't do zither. I don't know. Maybe you can. But
you never know.
Yeah, never do. But the variety of instruments, if somebody is interested in playing an instrument, they really do run the gamut, don't they?
Absolutely. We offer all of the brass instruments. So you're talking about trumpet, French horn, trombone, tuba, euphonium, all the woodwind instruments, and that would be flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, saxophone, percussion, of course, voice lessons, just all the string instruments such as guitar, ukulele. Believe it or not, one of our voice instructors is quite an accomplished ukulele player.
Yeah.
And so if we have someone who's interested in ukulele, which on any given semester we might have maybe one, sometimes two people, and she'll teach good ukulele lessons. So you only have to ask, and we'll see if we can't come up with it.
I want the instrument that Mr. Who was playing in The Grinch.
Oh, I do remember that instrument.
Riding the little, he rode his instrument. It was pretty good. No, they might not teach that there, but practically everything else. And it takes a great deal of confidence for these young students who are headed toward music education careers to take that mantle for the very first time. So a big salute to them.
It is, and that's kind of the win-win of the IUP Community Music School. Is one, it's offering lessons to the community members at a really great price. Quite honestly, $12.50 for a half an hour lesson to study with someone who's very close to graduating and going out and being a music educator.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of the coin, it gives these future music educators that opportunity to start teaching some private lessons, and even a little bit before they get into their student teaching. So you don't get a much better win-win than that.
Yeah. Okay. So before we move on to the arts path, let's tell folks how they can get involved in community music school and sign up for lessons.
Easy. You just need to go online to the website. Very simple. IUP.edu/communitymusic, and that puts you right on our main page. You can look at the private lessons information, and there's a online form. On any given page, there's a crimson bar. It goes all the way across the page and it says register now.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on that, it gives you our online form. You simply fill it out, submit it. I get an email, the new registration, and we take it from there. If you've already been in the community music school at any point and taken some lessons or played in a group, you can just email community-music@iup.edu and say, tell me what you'd like to do, and I will get you set up.
Very good. Again, the website is iup.edu/communitymusic.
Right, community music, all one word.
All right, very, very good. All right, so that's community music school, but Arts Path is something else very interesting in which you're involved.
That's my other program that I run here. And it is all about arts and education and placing professional artists out in schools and community settings in residencies that allow people to really dig into and enjoy a particular art form. It's really what it's about. And Arts Path is actually one of 14 organizations in the state that partner with the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts to present artist residencies in our region. So for Arts Path, if you are interested in a residency, you're looking at Armstrong, Butler, Clarion, Indiana, and Jefferson counties. And I cover all the school districts. Anybody in those 5 counties that would like to do an artist residency, they come and see me. If you're in Allegheny County, you go see our partner who's over in Allegheny County.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole state is divided out between 14 partners. We have every county covered, and it really is a terrific way for people to delve into the arts.
Yeah, absolutely, and the fact that it is such a widespread program with other chapters, that's a real big advantage to the program here at IUP, isn't it?
It does, and the way it's set up is that each partner, Arts Path, for instance, has a sort of a roster of professional artists that have applied to the program and have been accepted into the program to go out and be able to present artist residencies in their discipline. But with every partner doing that, they're considered to be on a state roster of teaching artists. And so if someone in Armstrong County or Indiana County is interested in having an artist who's rostered through another partner, say the one in Pittsburgh, that's okay. I can bring that artist into Indiana County, and we can use that artist in a residency, and I've done that many times.
Mm-hmm.
And it really gives you a great opportunity for artists, and Pennsylvania is a great state for artists, tremendous art throughout. And it gives you the opportunity to bring in just about anybody you'd like for your residency.
Yeah. So where are we going to learn more about ArtsPath?
Very similar. You would go to the website, iup.edu/artspath.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all one word, ARTSPATH. They can also just give me a call, and sometimes that's the easiest way to do it, 724-357-4565.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my direct line. You get me.
There you go. There you go. Now, understanding that you're not directly involved in some of these issues, I'm interested in, as IUP begins a new semester today, and this is on a whole other subject, IUP beginning a new semester today, music students in particular, and how they did in the fall, and really going back to last spring with Zoom or remote instruction. Was it altogether different for them from, say, a math major or an English major?
It is, because music is so much more hands-on. There's only so much lecture you can do. So, for instance, many people know that my wife is the flute professor here at the music department. Mm-hmm. And in her case, there were precautions that had to be taken because she really felt it's important to be teaching in person and see the students that much closer, that better, hear them, you hear better. So we actually kind of jury-rigged her office to where we strung a couple clear shower curtains across the middle. Students stay on one side, she stays on the other. They have a face shield. There's an air purifier in there. So they really have gone above and beyond to try to make it as safe as possible, but still have the quality of as much in-person instruction as possible, because it really is important in the world of music. Just like science, if you're going to have labs, you kind of have to be there and do that work.
Yeah, and it's much harder, I would guess, to do the fingering instruction over Zoom than it would be if you were there in person and were able to really signal them, have that eye contact, and you could sort of have that collaborative atmosphere as you get it rolling.
Right. Yeah, and it really comes down to two things. One, how good is the equipment on each end? How good is the student's equipment as far as sound reproduction and hearing and seeing, as well as on the instructors, how much miking, how many different angles, how many different cameras, what can you do to make it as real as possible? But then two, you're also at the mercy of the internet and what may be happening speed-wise at all the different connecting points. So you could be doing everything great, and your student could be doing everything great, but if the internet happens to be a little overloaded at that time and it's glitchy, mm-hmm. you're not going to have a very good lesson.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I appreciate that insight, because that was something that I really thought was, it interested me. I don't know that it did anybody else, but it did me, Jeff, and you satisfied my curiosity there. All right, Mary, thanks.
Great.
Jeff, thanks so much for spending some time with us today. IUP.edu/communitymusic, IUP.edu/artspath. Thank you again, and have a great day today.
You too. Thanks so much.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.1 FM and AM 1160.1 FM.